And away we go. Welcome to Formula One Champions Racing League. The start got a little bit premature on me. I did not realize that once that timer got to 0, we were starting. Hello, my name is William Lebowski. Welcome to lap 1. It seems like we have a Say pulling away from the rest of the field with a Thug Hughes right behind him, closely in tow. Izzy Boy is not that far behind with a half a second lead. With a half a second gap back to Say already behind him, we have KB, and 5 is King rounds out the top 5. Here we just seem to have Say getting a very good start. He's already got 7 on his way to 8 tenths over second place. Looks like Alfa Romeo is getting out to an early lead. I don't know how surprising that is, but we are seeing Izzy Boy hang on, still keeping himself 7 tenths behind second place. Chaotic lap. Let's move down the grid as we see Thug still following Say. Izzy Boy right on Thug's wheels. Behind him, KB right on the gearbox rather of Izzy. Those two are in a very close championship contending spot. They could be fighting for the second step on the podium here. So expect these two to be battling the rest of the night. We're going to probably be seeing a lot more of them as we head down to 5. Oh, we catch a spin just in time. Quattro is retired from this session, and it looks like we have 5 going the wrong way, sending it back right around, but it looks like he's going to shuffle himself all the way back to the end of the grid. Very unfortunate. As we see the first person to make up his place is PCC Godley, his teammate McLaren making it through just fine so far. KB and Izzy Boy still making the good battle. As it happened right behind them, we have spots coming in now. It looks like Say now getting almost 1.5 seconds, just to go back and touch on them to keep track of our leaders. And Incident is following in tow with Spot, leading Ghost right behind him. The two Haas teammates sticking right together in 7th and 8th position. Hal down into 9th place, the first place Mercedes so far. And here we have newcomer Grove, who's filling in a reserve position. Very exciting to see them moving up to the top 10 already. And to round out quickly the rest of the grid, here we have Whizbang following very close behind. Our old pal Jeff, not too far off Whizbang himself. Then we go down to Alpine Zone Steven, followed by Moose on Red Bull. Tweed Dad coming in 15th, Guitar Hero in 16th position. This must be a very big disappointment for himself. He could be looking at a very, very high position, and with some extra points, could be getting himself a couple steps further on the podium. But it looks like, as we're seeing him bounce around, he might be having himself a connection issue, which is very unfortunate for him. He does not deserve it. Already with the time penalty and that jumping around, we can assume that this has been connection-based. Really unlucky, really bad luck. There's just nothing else to say about that. And here we have 5 still recovering from his spin, making his way back up the field. Going back up to Say, they've set a couple fastest laps already. They've now got themselves over 2 seconds to their teammate behind them. And let's see if we can get a little bit of an onboard view of what Say's looking at here. He's just absolutely destroying this street circuit. A very, very tough street circuit. There is no moment of rest. There is, even in the straights, there is only preparation. And quite frankly, the straights are not as straightforward as they might appear given by their preceding and following corners. Here we have a very tricky left-hander that changes on itself a couple different times, which is always just flowing into the lefts and rights as we can see him go over the bridge into the hairpin. They're going to find themselves on the back of another straightaway of the DRS zone, but they do not, of course, have anyone giving them DRS as they are in first place, and they don't even give DRS to their second place racer. Here we have Thug, and still coming to the end of that DRS zone. You could just barely see Say is now getting to about 2.5 seconds of daylight. Pretty surprising, pretty shocking to have such an early lead. Let's see how our friend Izzy Boy's doing. Oh, he's right on the tail of Thug Hughes, and not only that, here we have KB right on the heels of Izzy Boy. So this battle is really heating up. These two fighting for position. KB is leading, but is now down one position, and this could have some ramifications on their championship standings as it goes through. So this is a very, very intense battle. Oh, Thug has a huge spin. In second place, there is a huge spin. Let's see how far they are going to fall here. Gets themselves right back in line in sixth position, but that is not at all what they were hoping for here. It looks like we're going to be seeing Alfa Romeo splitting off the first two cars, and are they going to drop down even further as this race goes? It looks like Ghost is a little bit of a bobble behind him, but Ghost is probably very eager to get a position and take advantage of Thug's misfortune. Let's see how this is going to shake out, but it looks like we have found Thug to have gotten himself rattled and settled down, calmed down, moving up back through the grid. Got a lot of pace to go through. As we work our way back up, we could see just everybody keeping their own rabbits ahead of them, as you could just see the next driver in front of you, which is sometimes all you need. Taking another closer look at KB and Izzy Boy, they are still battling within a second of each other, 7/10 from KB to Izzy Boy, and then above that we got about three, almost encroaching on 3.5 seconds. Although, no, yeah, I was going to say they might be taking that down. It looks like nope. Say is still just being able to inch out these tenths very quickly over the rest of the field. Pretty shocking to be able to put that kind of time down. But this battle is going to be the battle to watch the rest of this race. I've got a feeling. But here we go. Let's take a look at, let's see what he's doing. We have a yellow in Sector 3. It looks like Spots is on his way down a couple positions. Maybe just a quick spin. Hopefully nothing too big. As Spot is falling even more, we're going to have to run and check that out as we're hitting wrong buttons. But it looks like a little bit of ghosting, just missing the pit road. So hopefully there's no damage that we're not forced to make Spot go do a whole nother lap with, but it looks like they're making their way through, so hopefully it's something that can at least be limped back to the pits or can be continued all the way through. It looks like 5, unfortunately, is not recovering as well from his spin, as we're now seeing them fall further and further down the leaderboard here. Very unfortunate. Did not want to see that happen. Moose working their way up, Guitar Hero as well. Hopefully their connection issues have been solved and they can make their way back to the field. Having gotten the fastest lap several times throughout this season, we've full confidence that they're going to be able to make a comeback, assuming that they can get to the internet cooperation that they need. Here we have Tweed Dad and the AlphaTauri running their race. Doesn't necessarily, oh yes they do, I spoke incorrectly. They have Spots right in front of them. I was going to say they do not necessarily have that carrot right in front of them, but as a corner unfolds, there we go, we have Spots as we move into Spots. And looks like we're setting it up well. 7.5 seconds to Steven, who we are taking a look at now. And a little bit of a close proximity with their teammate Whizbang. And in between them, we have our fearless leader, Jeff, and Tweed Dad accruing a time penalty that we just missed. Seems as must have been from track infractions. Moving up to our fearless leader, Jeff. Let's see what they're looking like as they're driving down the highway, down the front straight, as it were, heading into the complex that is these first couple corners, keeping their distance to Whizbang nice and close, nice and tight. Whizbang does appear to be showing a time penalty. Let's see if we could see how many seconds that is. We cannot. So Whizbang here probably not maybe not if they're looking at a 3-second time penalty. They probably are looking at finishing behind Jeff if it were to finish right now, but so much could happen at this point in time. We could still be looking at Whizbang pulling off the position in front of Jeff here we are moving up into the AlphaTauri of Grove. It looks like we have a Moose retire with a yellow in Sector 1 and Sector 3. It looks like there could have been something over the start-finish line that we did not catch. But it looks like Grove go through the hairpin here, getting a little bit of a tight exit there as they're making their way up to Hal. It looks like they've got themselves 5.5 seconds, 5 seconds to work with to make their way down. It does not seem like they have a visible carrot in front of them, only that hungry group of three that we just discussed of Jeff, Steven, and Whizbang. Moving our way up to Hal, looks like they might have some clear track ahead of them as well here, the first placed Mercedes as well. It looks like they have Ghost right in front of them. It looks like Tweed Dad has retired from the session. Yellow in Sector 2 and Sector 3. It looks like we should be okay so far as who are following going through into Sector 1. So looks like the leaders in Sectors 1 and Sectors 2 probably should be coming up on that incident soon. Speaking of, not incident yet. Sixth place we have Thug Hughes kind of kind of doing the recovery drive after that huge spin, just sniffing their way down to the top 5 after that first incident. Speaking of incident, there we go, got the segue to work. Here we have incident with their top 5 placement currently, 3.5 seconds behind the 4th place position of PCC Godley, who's looking right down the barrel of KB. If we are to jump back, let's take a look at what these three are watching, because we have PCC Godley looking right down the gearbox of KB, who's sniffing right down the rear end of Izzy Boy, and really exciting things in the championship standings about to happen. We got some DRS. So this battle that we were predicting was going to be the interesting one from the beginning is really panning out and getting even more interesting as we see PCC Godley has come to play. Hopefully they're not going to spoil KB's dreams and get themselves higher up into the points finish and onto the podium for the final penultimate race of the season, pulling out a fantastic result if they could manage themselves a podium position here. But I don't think KB is going to want to let that happen, as they have a podium position in the constructors standings to worry about as well. So Izzy Boy really hot on the press as he's got himself 4 seconds ahead to the leader. So the virtual, not leader on track or not virtual points leader or anything like that, but they don't have the benefit of being able to cover somebody else into the corners. They don't have the benefit of being able to see that's too late, that's too early of a braking zone. They've got to make all of these decisions as we go on to that front straightaway, or just off the front straightaway, one of the many straightaways here at Singapore, and the group is kind of fanning and accordioning out as we go to these straightaways and braking zones and tight corners. It's really interesting to see these trio coming in and out as they get closer and closer and further, depending on what kind of track features we have here. The three of them in such close succession within 2 seconds, these three cars, and not only are they battling for race results, they are battling for championship points here. This is the final time to make it happen. So a fantastic battle that we're going to be just really treated here to as we now watch KB negotiate the cream filling that is this Oreo sandwich of these three. Here they are, all three of them right through. That was a beautiful shot of them through the chicane as they come up to the start-finish line. I was called it a little bit incorrectly, didn't have a track map or anything like that, but they are definitely working their way through Sector 3, or at the end of Sector 2. Say still pulling away at this point now. Oh, a dog has jumped on my lap. Hello, thank you, yes, I know, I love you. It's just, this is not the time, bud. And we still say, really driving away. Yes, hello. Driving away at this point. I love you, yes. You're a good boy. Yes. Okay. Sorry about that. Yes, and so this trio getting closer and closer and closer to the final, sorry, brain is rattled. KB and PCC Godley now with some DRS as they're making their way, seeing if they can get Izzy Boy to make a mistake. And so far, Izzy Boy just driving their race, really doing well, not making any mistakes. And it's just it's a treat to watch, to see this type of racing, to see this proximity for some championship points. Everybody loves to see it. And it looks like uh, all three of these guys really keeping themselves clean and tidy. But just as we mentioned earlier, it's just so hard not to make a mistake when you have two people who want your position, who want your points for the championship breathing down your neck, and just to go out and race and not worry about it and do the best you can and actually achieve the best you can. Just love seeing that out of Izzy Boy. Really love to see it. Let's see. We are now at coming up on lap 10 here, and it looks like we have everybody choosing to start on the hards for the most part. PCC Godly on those mediums. They are sitting third in this little echelon of drivers, so it's going to be interesting to see if they're going to hold on a little bit beyond what their tires are capable of, if we're going to see them put these old tires to the test and to really keep up with these drivers on their hards as the stint goes. So far, I don't think we've seen anyone dive into the pits yet. I don't think I saw anyone start on the softs. So I think we have green flag pits still a ways away. We do have some other close battles between at the closer to the bottom of the field. It looks like we have some tire performance comparison here between PCC Godly and KB. It looks like PCC Godly not that far behind at 30% use of their tires, where KB is only at 23%. So there is a little bit of a difference here, but PCC Godly is hanging on, and I don't know if KB is saving. I don't know if KB is waiting until those mediums are going to start to achieve more of their designated lifetime, and then they're really going to start turning the screws on them, or if we're really seeing a master class here by PCC Godly in keeping up with these guys. Although it is only lap 10, it is a possibility that these mediums are the advantage here, as we see PCC is going to get very close. Maybe we're going to see them making a pass coming up into that DRS zone that they're not very far away from. Oh, and a spin! Oh no! And some very serious front end wing damage. That's gonna remove them from that podium position. Unfortunately, there's some. Oh, that's absolutely heartbreaking to see, as Thug makes their way up another position here now into 5th place after their spin from 2nd place. So this is a sign to PCC. Here we have Thug and PCC, the two that had their big spins fighting for podium positions, but still moving up. I hope PCC Godly is not thinking to himself that it is over, as we see them now in the pits falling down the race order here. Very unfortunate for them to see. It seems like they're going to be pitting and putting on the hards, getting a change of wing. Let's see what these hards can do. Going on to the hards at lap 11, I feel like this could have been a blessing in disguise, because that happened in Sector 3. They're going on to the hards now. I think it's possible that that is their race. I think that they have completed the required pit stops. I'm not sure about the required compounds, but this could be a very, very, very interesting tire strategy if they can make these hards work for the rest of the race. Let's make our way back up the grid here. Now we're moving back up to Spots, who is leading at the back of this little trio that are fighting for position between Whizbang, Jeff, and let's see who Spots here, and it looks like we just are seeing a little bit of contact between Spots and Jeff, as Spots makes the pass. Jeff now being shuffled down a little bit offline, maybe a little bit bobbled. Let's take a look at what Jeff's seeing here from his POV, and it looks like unfortunately, we saw them miss out, I think, on 2 positions there. So they're dropping out of the top 10 after that little bit of contact. But here we have Spots now moving forward on their target of Whizbang, who has at least 3 seconds of time penalty. So if the race were to end right here, right now, we're probably seeing Spot and potentially Jeff at this point move right past. But they are maintaining the pace, they are maintaining the position, and so far keeping their place on track as we move up to our Buddy Grove here in the AlphaTauri now. with at least 3 seconds of time penalty themselves. Still sitting into the top 10 comfortably. It looks like they're going to dive into pit road. It looks like we have a green flag stop here. I'm not sure if this is any kind of damage or not. I wouldn't think so, but it looks like we're seeing the very beginnings of some green flag pit stops. Let's see what kind of tire compound they're going for and if they pit because of wing damage or not. Moving to the mediums, it's possible. Oh, we also see some wing damage, so it's possible we're going to see a 2-stop out of them, or maybe they're going to try to make these mediums work. That would be very interesting. I would love to see that happen. Slight hold on the release, but away they go. Moving up to PCC, Godley making a little bit of a recovery from their earlier incident now, finds themselves right behind Jeff, 5 seconds behind him. But unfortunate for them, they've got themselves, they're on their own strategy, and they're not going to know if it's going to work till the end. We'll keep our eye on them. We'll see if they maintain this one-stop strategy, because that would be lovely to see, especially with the likes of the top of the grid. Moving up to Jeff, can just barely see spots ahead of him. Got that carrot ahead of them, and seeing Whizbang, that the completion of that trio that we had been spotting earlier. I hope their head is not too rattled from that contact between them and Spots. I hope they can get their head back down, get back to that duo, make themselves a trio. Speaking of that duo, it looks like we have Spots really getting close to the end of this DRS zone to Whizbang, trying to make their move up on them, as they're getting right up onto their gearbox, trying to see what they can do here between Alpine and Williams. A fantastic battle is happening. Whizbang here just leading them into the final couple of technical sectors, trying to do their best to carry them in to the finishing final sector. A little tap on the wall, but it should be just fine. Moving up to Hal, we see them passing Incident coming out of the pit road here. Let's see, is there going to be a change of position? Hal does go right by Incident now on the hards, should be able to make those last the entire way. It would be really interesting to see if we're going to see this undercut work. We have a very strong undercut working with PCC, Godley, and potentially Grove, but now here we have another undercut, maybe a more uniquely opportuned time for the undercut here by Incident, really going to be taking advantage of maximizing their tire wear at the end of the race. Moving back up to Hal, now sitting themselves up in 6th place, sitting 10 seconds behind Ghost. They've got their own race to run. We'll leave them to it. Ghost sitting 11, 12 seconds behind Thug Hughes in 5th position. It looks like they have this very big buffer between them. They've got their own race to run as well. Moving back up to Thug, who's only 2 places off is their 2nd place, where they started and span from, spended from. And so we're seeing an amazing recovery drive here. They just have to make themselves up 6 seconds up to KB. KB now trailing from Izzy Boy a little bit further, not quite as close as we saw them earlier. It's going to be really interesting to see if this is tire wear, if this is saving their tire management, if this is trying to really extend and go on mediums and use the mediums for as much as they can on their final stint. You always want to get to that point, not just where you can switch to a tire, but when you can switch to a tire and be fast, but not switching so late where you can switch to a tire, be fast, and still waste most of the good rubber while having spent way too much time on the old rubber of the hards. So it's interesting to see what KB and Izzy Boy are going to be doing between them. Izzy Boy finding himself about the same distance between 4.5 and 5 seconds off of our leader say here. Seems to just be putting on a clinic, but we're not seeing say in the field of view of Izzy here, who's just, hopefully they got their earpods in, music going, they're just running their own race. Should be seeing a pit stop somewhat soon, I would imagine, as we are now approaching the halfway point of this race, and I believe that the mediums could last 15 laps going forward. So it's going to be interesting to see when we start seeing people dip in for the green flag pit stops. Will be very interesting to see what happens. It seems like most people are going for a one stop, and I think that would be the smart strategy here, but we don't know how long it will last, or we don't necessarily who wants to be the first person in, who wants to be the first person to cash in on their rubber. We will see. It looks like we've seen some green flag pit stops yet, but yet not the whole field. I don't think everyone is sold just yet. So Say still out in front as they have crossed the finish line again. It seems as our friend Grove there has accrued another 3-second time penalty. Not very good. Not very good things happening over there, as well as in last running position. There must have been some sort of incident, but it looks like everyone is starting to fan out as we see everybody is at least around about a second behind everybody else. So, Hal has joined, unfortunately, now sitting in 7th. I believe we saw them sitting in 5th. Hopefully they didn't lose that time with having a internet issue. I know that they're experiencing some storm problems. Hopefully they're staying safe and with internet. Say now extending his lead to 5 seconds plus. We have to now have the feeling that people are going to start running down pit road coming soon. I think Say might be this is a very nausea-inducing camera angle. What is this? It would make sense to see Say coming first, as they are sitting in a very safe position, relatively speaking, when it comes to their both race lead and championship points lead. So they would not have much to risk coming in at the halfway point of the race, switching to the mediums. And but I could also see wanting to give the rest of these tires a full use. So we are right at the end of this session. Let's see, Say is going to stay out yet again. Let's scroll down to Izzy Boy, who's going to stay out yet again, as we come down to KB, who's going to stay out yet again. Coming back now to Thug Hughes, who's also going to stay out. So it looks like everybody in the top 4. Ghost is running on the mediums already, so we might see Ghost come in earliest if they are running these mediums from the start of the race. It might make sense to see them go on to the hards, but alas, I think that's not. We see them stay out yet again. So it looks like there we have the top 4 very close here. Within about 20 seconds of each other here, and within 20 seconds of each other actually. And so this is going to be our winner is going to come out of this group. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes, as Thug Hughes is really taking up all of the track space there to the wall. Love to see it. Love to see that kind of speed thrown down on the track. Let's check in on Say here, as they're still making their way through Singapore. Really, this is just I don't know what to call it. The domination in Singapore from Say. It just really has been in such command this entire time. It really is a spectacle to see, to just see someone go out there and just alien everybody else. But let's see as they start to approach Sector 3 and make their way towards the start-finish line. Let's see if they're going to pit. Nope, not again. Let's make our way back down to Izzy Boy. Are they going to stay out? Are they going to pit? Izzy Boy also staying out. KB is going to stay out as well. All the way down to Thug Hughes, also staying out on lap 17. So we're really cramming these pit stops into about the final 10 laps or so. Going to be really interesting to see how that culminates towards the end of the race, as we see Ghost here driving their own race still at this point in time as well. Incident, the Haas teammates running 5th and 6th together. A little bit of daylight between them. They can just barely keep an eye on each other. It'll be interesting to see how that relationship between the two of them continues throughout this race, as we see Wigsbang picks up another 3 seconds. Spots following Incident now, about 10 seconds, and close behind Spots we have PCC Godly has made a substantial recovery from the last time we checked in. I'm now inside the top 10 at 8th position. I've got a feeling that they're hungry for Spots position, and they're going to make a quick meal of getting that position down. They are the first person I believe we saw pit onto those hards. They would have to run about 20 laps on those hards to make it to the end of the race. I have full confidence. I feel like they've done the undercut the best. I feel like now everybody's trying to overcut the field, but now they're all going to be pitting at the exact same time as we see Whizbang in the pits, shuffling them all the way down to 13th position. Let's move down to Hal here, as they've got a bunch of tarmac ahead of them running their own race, and we see now Jeff right behind Hal, the two Mercedes teammates sticking to each other, and now we have 5-6-2 King still running their own race, a little bit of a margin of 22 seconds to Jeff, pretty a big gap. But right behind them, we have Guitar Hero 1, 2, 3, 4, just 2 seconds off of 5. Who's on first? No, 5. No, who's two? Okay, we got it. But a little weird action there, especially we just saw the way that they were navigating the corner. This must be a connection issue. It would be the only way to explain it. They must be affected by the storms currently raging on as a result of the hurricane. Must be. It's very unfortunate as they were poised to they were poised to do very well in the standings, and it's very unfortunate that they coulda, shoulda, woulda pulled off a points finish had they had internet. Very hard to watch as we see Whizbang here going over the bridge with some time penalties to go. So it looks like we are seeing now Ghost leaving the pits there. I'm not exactly sure what happened. Jeff making the position gain on there. I don't remember if it was Incident or Ghost, which Haas teammate we saw already making their pit stop. It is unknown, but we still have these first 4 or 5 drivers running their race on the same set of tires that they started with all the way through to lap 18. We got to be seeing some tremendous tire wear. They've got to be thinking that their tires are ready to switch over to some newer compounds. As we see Izzy Boy diving to the pits, there we go. Let's see if anybody else is going to be joining them as we cut back to KB, who's also going to be pitting, matching the strategy, and also Thug Hughes behind them. So it looks like we have Say getting on the overcut. However, they are very far out ahead. They could probably make this work, and it looks like Izzy Boy is going to retain the lead in second position from KB as they exit the pits. All right, here we go. Izzy Boy is released. KB just after them, and Thug Hughes right behind that. So here we have them on the mediums with Izzy Boy. We have KB on the mediums, and Incident, who is able to split Thug Hughes, still on those hards. Let's see what's going to happen here. Thug Hughes has got the work cut out for them as they're now looking at missing out on their 4th place position, having Incident gone through during those green flag pit stops. So they did all happen at once. Surely we're going to be seeing Say pit this lap now. We got some fresh rubber on these two. Let's see if they're going to be able to it's going to be an all-out battle. We have 11 laps left, some medium fresh tires, a street circuit. We are in for a treat. Let's quickly check on Say as that battle heats up. Whizbang with another time penalty, unfortunately. Say surely does not want to lose out too much. Surely they're going to grab some fresh rubber and yes, they will be making their way to the pit road now, and let's see how far Izzy Boy is going to be able to make up on him as we have our leader in the pits. We have 34 seconds to overcome. Traditionally speaking, I believe you can get about 20 to 25 seconds back from a pit stop. If my memory serves correct, though you would imagine that is going to definitely change from track to track from the length of the pit road. But let's check in on Say as they are now at the end of pit road here, and Say being released just as Izzy Boy is approaching the start of pit road. Say is going to keep a tremendous portion of that lead. Looks like that overcut is not going to hit them too hard. These two, KB and Izzy Boy, are really, really putting it on tonight. We have 11 laps left of this season, and they want each other's points. And I have a feeling this battle is only only getting better and better and better and better as we see Izzy Boy with 7.3 seconds to Say ahead. Say on the fresh rubber, let's just quickly see if we could take a look. Say, of course, on the mediums, was checking to see if maybe they were going to go to the softs for the final 10 or so laps. It seems to be about that window, but I guess that was just slightly too long for those softs. They would have gone a little bit too early. Didn't want to lose his lead. As we see these two just following every move, every pit stop strategy. They're just sticking to each other like glue, and it has been a treat to watch as we see these two battle it out and keep it so close. We're going to see KB now with the DRS as they are approaching them. At the end of this braking zone, they are managed to move themselves up just further and closer, but it's not going to be near enough to get the pass. They're going to have to make themselves work a little bit now as they're just twinkling on the edge of the DRS zone. 5.62 now setting the fastest lap at a 41.2. I believe Say previously had that in the 42, so almost a second faster there. So we might be seeing 5.6 having taken some softs to try to there we go again. KB 140.9. We were just talking about how fast that was and how likely it was that they were on that 5.62 was only able to accomplish that by taking an extra pit stop for a fresh set of rubber to really go for the fastest lap. But it just shows you how fast these two are going and how at each other's throat they are right now, really just throwing everything they have for these final 10 laps at each other. Izzy Boy throwing a little bit of a healthy lead, but if you recall, just a moment ago, we were looking at 0.7 seconds, and now we are only looking at 0.5. So this accordioning back and forth, this yo-yoing, such minuscule amounts, such close spaces for such big differences in points and potentially big differences in standings. So it's really a phenomenal battle we're watching right here, this heavyweight battle, this Muhammad Ali versus Frazier that we're getting to witness on the penultimate round, the finale round. And here we go. We have KB with some DRS. Is it going to be enough to get them at the braking zone here? No, it is not, but it will get them very, very, very close, sniffing down the gearbox of Izzy Boy 2-3. And Izzy Boy's going to be able to feel it, but they're responding well to the pressure, having the fastest lap. And, KB bouncing off the wall a little bit. Hopefully that's going to keep their damage at a minimum. Hopefully they didn't pick up any, because I would love to continue to see this battle rage on and rage forward. Both of these two running almost perfect races, and now we have Say pulling down an extra tenth, a 1/3. Wait, was that a whole second? Were we looking at a 140.9 to a 130.8? A 130? Oh, wow. We are in a gauntlet right now of Say throwing down a hot lap with his 8 seconds of lead. We have Izzy Boy and KB battling each other, matching each other in this battle of wits. You never go in a battle of wits with a Thelian, and just absolute treat here. And then not too far away, we have Thug making their beautiful recovery drive after spinning early from second place, still finding themselves in the top 5. Incident trying their best to hold that position. As they can see, Thug is getting close. He is now within the 1 second DRS range. Maybe Thug is going to be getting around Incident in the coming laps. We're going to have to keep our eye out on that, as those two are only getting closer and closer and closer together. Hopefully, we just to see these four continue to this battle of wits and chess match that they're on right now. And we see Say still extending his lead, going, I believe last time we checked in on it at 8.8 seconds, now all the way to 8.5 seconds. Say just doing whatever they want, whenever they want, really abusing these mediums. I see what has happened. I was curious why everybody was waiting so long to go for their pits, and the solution was they were just buying their ticket to the final few laps, because that's when they're bringing out all the artillery, all of the firepower, making all of their moves, and really just shredding what is left of these mediums. As we now have Izzy Boy coming down to the bottom of the start-finish line. We have KB moving in on the DRS. Just not enough this lap. Izzy Boy still maintaining the lead even through all these DRS zones. Really a phenomenal drive here to just be in the most pressure position that you could be in at this point in time, and just being like Larry the Cucumber and staying calm and not letting their rival make moves under DRS zones. However, they're looking to be closer and closer and closer every time. I'm sure every time he looks in his mirror, Izzy Boy sees KB closer and closer at the end of those DRS zones. So if KB is able to string these DRS zones together and not lose any momentum between them, that's going to be their way around Izzy Boy at this pace, because Izzy Boy is just laying down a clinic right now. And as it seems, we have Thug now moving in on Incident, getting closer and closer and closer as Incident skids the wall just barely. It's the street circuit here. It's very tight. It requires maximum precision. This is a very fast track. We have Thug Hughes getting a very nice apex here and some DRS. Looks like we have Incident trying to break the toe as early as possible. DRS zone is not long enough to keep that position away from Thug Hughes. Thug Hughes doing an amazing job to try to bring it up back into the podium position after that spin early, and they're doing a phenomenal job at it as we go back up to KB and Izzy Boy here as they battle. No, that's the wrong way. There we go. As they battle through the start-finish line now. KB with the DRS, Hal with I thought that was one of our top 5, but Hal unfortunately with some time penalties. Very unfortunate race for Hal. This is very out of character for Hal. Usually we're seeing Hal up at these top battles doing some amazing things, but today Izzy Boy and KB are battling. It seems as though they're making their way on a Mercedes. It must be the Mercedes of Hal. But anyway, KB moving in now on this DRS zone again, getting closer and closer and closer. The pressure is on. Say does not have that feeling at all, because now the gap is up to 10.5 seconds. Just an incredible dominant display here by Say, just really putting a clinic down on everybody else about what a hot lap is, what a fast lap is, and what it is like to string these all together. There are no words to match the pace of Say at this race. Here we have Thug Hughes now still saying within about that half-second gap to Incident as they go over the bridge. And you know what? If these two keep battling as close as they are, and here we go, the DRS zone. Let's see it here. That's the wrong button yet again. Are we going to see the move at the end of this braking zone? No, we're not. Just barely at that DRS zone. Not long enough to really maximize a pass here. But Thug is certainly waiting for their opportunity to make a pass. Certainly has to be itching for that moment. Leading from Incident here. KB still sniffing down with the same gap back as they open their DRS down the front straightaway. Easy setting themselves up for the corner already, and no threat. Just ice in the veins of Izzy Boy here with leading this half a second all the way back. And we're just seeing in these final 6 laps here some phenomenal racing in another DRS zone here for KB. Are they moving in on Izzy? Not quite. We're not quite going to have it. Let's see here. Thug is probably going to want to take advantage of this DRS zone. As we can see the slide by Incident, Thug is going to take it. Thug is going to take the position here up into 4th position as they enter the braking zone, hits the apex and the exit. That's going to be a spot captured. We are now looking at Incident in 5th place, who is now suddenly thinking after 25 laps of being ahead, what's going on? Thug Hughes, though, has probably that 1-2 finish on their mind after starting 1-2 and putting on that dominant, very fast beginning race. The two of them going 1-2. I'm sure they have it in their hearts to finish 1-2, although they have some very serious competition to overcome in KB and Izzy Boy here, as they are still just matching each other. As this battle of wits continues as they approach the Ferris wheel towards the end of the lap. Still maintaining this roughly half-second gap, the two of them just matching each other's lines, matching each other's pace, matching each other's strategy all the way down. It's going to come down to who is going to be able to be the bigger force here. Is Izzy Boy going to be the bigger force of defending, or is KB at some point going to have to let it loose? But it just seems like Izzy Boy has really been doing well to defend, but that's what we were saying about Incident and Thug Hughes. Thug Hughes bought their time and waited right for the perfect moment where Incident made that slight slip on a corner exit right where we are watching now at the front of this DRS zone. It couldn't have happened in a worse place for Incident, unfortunately, and so that is exactly what KB is waiting for. They're, a little bit of contact with the wall. Hopefully we're not seeing any damage there. But they're being patient. They know that they have to match them. They know they have to be able to, anything that they can do, they also have to be able to do themselves. And they're just waiting. There's going to be only bad things if you try to force a move here at this tight circuit. So instead of making that awful decision, wait. And it's so hard to sit there and wait as you feel like you're place in the championship gets further and further away from you, but that's what makes you hungrier and hungrier and hungrier and willing to wait longer and longer and longer. So we have this battle of attrition here, and hopefully we're going to see it continue all the way down to the very last lap. Although say now with his 12-second advantage on the rest of the field on second place, just a phenomenal who's ever seen this happen? Is anybody familiar with this happening in a league? This is just a level of dominance that is not usually seen. I think we've seen perfection from, say, this race. Just incredible as we dwindle into these final laps with a very healthy margin here of 12 plus seconds, and it seems like that clock is going up and up and up as they make their way through traffic. Izzy Boy under heavy fire now as this is within half a second. We're looking at 0.3 to 0.4 seconds to KB. KB is getting really hungry for this pass, is really wanting to make it happen. Let's see what they're watching from their TV pod as we're able to see that Izzy Boy low on power. He's low on battery. Maybe we're seeing a position where KB has got some extra ERS in the tank and we're going to see them use it in the combination with their DRS zone or when making it up on a straightaway or in a section of track where they are able to get an extra boost without the DRS. Here is a nice straightaway. We still are looking at that blinking light of Izzy Boy, but not close enough yet. KB still needing to be patient, even though that light of temptation, which is now gone. It's flirting. It's yo-yoing back and forth. So we're probably seeing around 10, 15%, 12% battery charge on Izzy Boy. So they are throwing everything they've got. It's not just been a we've got this from the start. They are throwing every bit of power that they can from both the car and both the driver's talent that they can down back at KB to see what can happen here. This battle just heating up and heating up and heating up, but excellent management of that ERS deploy and recharge to now already be back to full charge, not full charge levels, but not low charge levels at this point in time. As they cross the finish line yet again, this race gets closer and closer. Able to use even some of that ERS to defend against the DRS here of KB. But will they be able to do that yet again as they're about to head into a very long DRS zone one more time at the end of this right-hander? This is exactly where we saw Incident and Thug Hughes make their swap on each other. KB gets closer. Is he going to go for it right at the last moment? Nope, it is still too early because, of course, you don't want to make the move too early. And you make the move too early, you find yourself sitting right in front of the guy that you were just fighting and trying to battle, and now you've given him almost an advantage of both having a draft, both having potential to have DRS, and as well as maybe having some easier time giving some battery charge in them. They don't, at the very least, they don't have to spend time worrying about using all of their battery because they could just sit in the slipstream a little bit easier. So KB not getting the exit on that corner, he's going to need, if he's going to make the pass in this short DRS zone. Izzy Boy still covering it perfectly, managing the DRS, managing this street circuit, managing the terrible strategists in their ear, I imagine. If we see anything like what their team structure it leads them to believe. But anyway, moving in on yet another end of the lap here, and again managing that ERS where that blinking light is off. They're doing doing it. They're not just throwing everything they have at it. They are managing this lead, which is very exciting to see, as we can see them go oscillate back and forth between using all of their battery and not. Just a treat to watch them on their heels here, and they're really both on their heels and giving 100% of what they can. Here we have KB getting close, but just not quite getting those exits they're going to need in order to take advantage of the speed on the long straights. Even with that little bit of yo-yoing we saw right before the DRS zone, that's going to eat up a whole lot of time that they need to be making the pass. So here we have a comparison of KB and Thug Hughes tires. It seems as though Thug Hughes 10 seconds back, having used slightly more of their tires, doesn't matter. But if we are to compare what we're looking at with KB's tires at 30 to 35% use, we could probably assume that Izzy Boy's got something similar, as they both pit on the same lap, and Izzy Boy into the wall, a slight rub on the wall. That's going to get KB right up to the gearbox, right in front of a DRS. So KB also makes contact with the wall to even each other out and ghost themselves as well. So tit for tat there, as we saw a big mistake from both drivers in both the same way. No one is getting an advantage here. They're going to have to battle it out all the way to the end here, as we see these two just warring with each other for the past 29 laps. Say still out front comfortably, about to extend their lead to 16 seconds, and it seems as though Incident and Thug have started to part ways. This is by far the closest battle we have, within 1 second, within half a second, going into the final 2 laps here. What's going to happen here? Is KB going to be able to put his laps together and get these corner exit speeds that he needs in order to make his advantage down these long straightaways in these DRS zones, or is Izzy Boy going to be able to manage that DRS to fight off against the KB with a 3-second time penalty? That's it. That's the decision. Izzy Boy is now 3.5 seconds. Izzy Boy on the second to last lap is all but confirmed their position. Izzy Boy now just has to continue to do what they have done, but the pressure is off now. Even if they give the position and are able to hold right behind them, they will still maintain that second place position. Izzy Boy here has locked in their positioning. What might be interesting now is we've seen this gap from 8 seconds back to Thug Hughes now shrink down to 5 seconds. So if Thug Hughes can get themselves within 5 seconds in these next 2 laps to KB, we're looking at a pretty tremendous mistake on KB's end. But that is going to cost him. Izzy Boy just keeping it in the lines slightly more than KB. KB doing everything they could to get around, having to take some lines, I imagine, that they maybe didn't want to try some new things to get themselves in front, to get themselves that little bit of advantage coming in and out or through a corner that Izzy Boy wouldn't have at their disposal. As Say has started the final lap, these two are making their way to the start-finish line here, as we're now looking at the blinking light of KB. So KB might be at wit's end here, even though with DRS they are sitting with 3 seconds of time penalty. And so I think we might have our deciding order right here, as they're going to make their way down the last lap. Let's watch the parade of Say finishing their final lap. I believe this has been a perfect race for them, leading every lap, pole position, and I believe they snagged that fastest lap right away very quickly. And so they are making their dominant way down with 17.5 seconds to their final victory of Season 5. An incredible display from them, incredible performance. I don't know which Mercedes that was. It looked like it might have been Jeff, really just getting out of Say's way at all costs. But wow, we paid a lot of attention there to Izzy Boy and KB, as they were just really throwing everything at the wall to do everything they could to battle this race. But Say just putting on a dominant, impressive performance, and will be rewarded their World Driver Championship, as well as bring Alfa Romeo to first place in the Constructors. Say crossing the finish line here at Singapore, a champion in Formula One Champions Racing League. Congratulations. And here we have Izzy Boy coming in to bring home second place about 18 and a half seconds later. Just you can see the dominance here is Izzy Boy. The points are going to be close. We might see Izzy Boy moved up into second position from third place in the standings. As Big Rye Guy having to miss this race for serving a penalty from stopping on track in the previous race. KB crossing the finish line. Incident coming home. PCC Godly not too far. What a fantastic season it has been. It has been a treat to watch it unfold, and what a fantastic race. What a magnificent finale to bring it all together. Just an absolute battle here on the streets of Singapore. PCC Godly crosses the finish line, and right behind him was their lap teammate. I thought it was their teammate finishing right behind them, and spots in with Williams coming home to cross the finish line, taking home 7th position. And here we have Ghost right behind them. Unfortunately, that strategy did not work out for them. And Guitar Hero with the unfortunate, what I'm assuming is, the internet connection. As we can see, it's for sure the internet connection. Bouncing off the wall when it didn't even look like they were headed there to begin with. Significant disappointment. They will come home with points for their 9th place finish, but they deserved a much better finish than they have received today. And boy, it's going to cost them in the final standings. That is not what we wanted to see. But wow. And so now finally the game audio decides to come in. What a fantastic race. What a fantastic season. Thank you everybody for watching. Driver of the Day spots. I don't know. Maybe that should have been Say. For their dominant performance. Let's take a look at our finishing results one last time before we go. Our podium presentation with that, I guess we can call it the Conor McGregor walk out of Say here to step on first place at the podium for the final race of the season, as well as step on first place of the the World Drivers Championship. There we go. Spray that champagne. What a lovely celebration. We saw Izzy Boy coming home in second place, spraying champagne, and KB rounding out the podium in third place. Enjoy it, fellas. Looking at our results now, first place with that dominant victory, we have Say finishing in first place with Alfa Romeo. Second place, we have Izzy Boy from Aston Martin. Third place, KB with Red Bull. Thug Hughes finishes in fourth place. Incident finishes in fifth place. Sixth place goes to PCC Godly of McLaren. The Canadian spots finishes 7th place for Williams Racing in the points. Ghost is able to pull out an 8th place finish for Haas. Guitar Hero is able to pull out a 9th place finish with Aston Martin. Jeff is able to pull out a 10th place position, a top 10 for Mercedes. 562 King for McLaren finishing on 11th place. And apparently that is all the scoreboard wants us to see. Thank you guys for watching. It has been a lovely treat. It has been my honor to be able to bring you guys this race. Thank you for watching. Check the description and whatnot for more relevant information. We'll see you in Season 6.